Hey there, it's Regis. So let me guess why you're here. Reason number 1. You're new to Path of Exile 2, you got the game, you created your character, you leveled up, you got a skill point, and when you open the skill tree...
SP?
Huh? What? It doesn't stop.
Oh.
There's a bottom part too?
Should I look up?
If that was your reaction, you're in the right place. Or reason number 2, your current build sucks. You don't know why, you don't know how, you keep dying.
I'm dead! What the f is that?
Nothing is working, and then decided to accept reality and try to follow a build guide. No shame, we've all been there. Or reason number 3, you're DS Lily. One of your viewers sent this video to check to see if this is a bait build. But I've done T4 Zesh, T4 King of the Mist, carried a Zakroth in a 3-man party, killed the Trial Master in Act 4, and also killed Arbiter. Not Uber Arbiter though, sadly, but I'll explain why later.
If you're a broke boy, just say so.
Or you're a Hatewatcher. You don't know why you're here, but YouTube put this on your feed, and we're both stuck together. So before we get into the build, let me show you this compilation of boss kills. Roll the clip. Okay, so first of all, credits where it's due, this build is inspired by Nextax. I took his core idea of freezing bosses and then safely killing them with Incinerate, as well as making some small changes to make it more beginner friendly and maximize damage as much as possible during early game and late game. Honestly, this build is one of the most comfortable and enjoyable builds I've ever played in PoE 2, and this build offers incredible survivability without costing a ton of currencies early game once you are able to run temporal chains in your blasphemy socket. But if you're looking for a build that zooms through maps insanely quickly and moves at hyperspeed, this is not a build for you. It is not as fast as the other builds out there, it doesn't one-shot bosses immediately, and you need to apply multiple skills during boss fights to maximize DPS. This build is great for players who want a slower pace experience, especially if you're new, since slowing enemies makes it way safer and way easier to see telegraph attacks and one-shot slams. So while progressing through the acts, EDC, or as known as Essence Drain and Contagion, will be your 2 main skills throughout the acts. Once you have access to Dark Effigy, it will further boost your single target damage until you are able to spec into Black Flame Covenant to make use of Incinerate during boss fights. Now for the skill tree pathing is very beginner friendly, as you can either path into more survivability by speccing into Energy Shield nodes, or if you want damage, then go for spell damage or chaos nodes nearby if you want to rush through the acts as fast as possible. However, in PoE 2, balancing both is always the ideal choice, so adapt accordingly to your situation. Now for your first 2 Ascendancy points, you can either take Apex of the Moment and Sense of Time to make fights easier. Apex of the Moment slows enemies in your area by 20%, while Sands of Time alternates between giving you faster cast speed and increased AoE, helping you clear packs more safely. Or if you want the highlight of the Chronomancer Ascendancy, spec into and grab Ultimate Command for your time freeze ability and start making boss fights a total joke. Small tip, especially before engaging in boss fights, Incinerate fuel charges up by casting spells and costing mana. Once you've noticed Incinerate's fuel is all maxed out, now you're ready to begin. If you have a decent wand and focus with plus level to spells, you will often see yourself skipping their mechanics and phases completely. But If you're still having troubles killing bosses, you could temporarily boost your damage by getting a cheap unique amulet called the Fire Flower. It can roll from +1 to 4 level of all fire skills that will boost Incinerate damage a little bit more while killing bosses. The only downside is that you will take a flat 100 fire damage when you ignite an enemy. Just make sure that you have enough hit points and energy shield to tank the fire damage while using Incinerate. Now, how does it scale? You are ultimately looking for plus level to all spell skills. This not just increases your chaos spells like EDC and Dark Effigy, Incinerate's damage will definitely be increased as well as any spells in your skill slots that has the spell tag in it. And that means it applies to your temporal chains and despair levels that will be socketed inside your blasphemy. As for Incinerate, you want to stack a lot of ignite magnitude. Generic plus spell damage plus chaos damage is what you're looking for, but those extra ass mods on your wand is something you want to look out for, as they will increase a buttload of damage on top. Now here comes the really endgame part. So Incinerate's damage falls out pretty badly while fighting some uber bosses. This is because GGG has nerfed Incinerate in 0.4 and people weren't interested in playing Chaos Incinerate anymore. But luckily, YouTuber Swedge has made an incredibly informative video about how to scale the Rework Incinerate, and the answer is crit. And that is why I went broke trying to buy crit items to see if Incinerate really could crit, as the common knowledge for ignite damage is they do damage over time, and damage over time usually don't crit. But however, Swedge's video proved me wrong, and the results were quite obvious as I could see crit ticks while fighting tier 4 Zash. As for the defensive layers, you will be using energy shield bases for your armors. Decent armors for energy shields could easily reach up to 8k or more energy shield, but if you're a min-maxer, 10k ES is definitely possible. Then, because of the cursed magnitude nodes that we are getting on the passive tree, adding up with the only unique you need in this build, which is the Prisoner Manacles that increases your slow magnitude from temporal chains, it'll slow down mobs so much that it's so easy to telegraph their attacks. However, because of this unique mod in the gloves that says cannot immobilize enemies, you cannot freeze, pin, heavy stun, or even electrocute enemies anymore. But hey, when things are moving so slow, they might as well consider it frozen in time. But be aware that different type of mobs have a cap of how much you could slow them. And if you want to use Temporal Rift, here's how it works. So Temporal Rift sends you back to the oldest after image it made a few seconds ago, restoring your position, life, mana, and ES to that point in time. I personally use Temporal Rift as a panic button to escape low life situations or anything that would otherwise get me killed. So with good positioning and timing, you can even avoid one-shot mechanics. How you use it though is completely up to you. Last but not least, the bane of endgame, sustain. Unfortunately, this build does not have any fancy mechanics or tech for sustaining life, and the elephant in the room, mana sustain, which is a common issue in almost every PoE to endgame build. Once you start scaling your skills and when their mana cost goes up, keeping your mana sustain can get pretty rough. For now, the simplest solution is running jewels with mana recovered on kill. You can stack this mod on multiple jewels to significantly improve sustain, especially while mapping. Alternatively, you can mix in some mana regeneration on your gear to help smooth things out overall. If you have some spirit lying around, you can slot in clarity with your persistent buffs like Withering Presence or even Temporal Rift to make mana sustain a bit easier. Alright, that's it for this Chronomancer Chaos Incinerate build. For all the newbies and the beginners or anybody who's watching, I hope this video was simple and interesting enough that you'll actually want to give it a try. If you want to follow the guide, the written guide on Mobalytics is linked in the description and covers everything. Full passive tree pathing, skill gems with support setups, recommended gear, weapon mods to look for, and everything in between. Meanwhile, I'll be updating the Mobalytics guide to to continue and test whether a crit variant of the Incinerate works better, so if you want to follow along and try a crit-based Incinerate yourself, you can keep up with the updates there. Plus, I'll be frequently streaming on Twitch where you can watch the build in action, ask questions, or if you just want to hang out. If you enjoyed watching this video, or learned something new, or just like watching bosses frozen in time while they melt, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.